we will start with the sampling theory. So we'll try to understand that why do we need sampling, and if we need sampling, then what are the conditions of sampling, that what conditions we should satisfy so that our signal is properly sampled. And also in literature we have one name of the sampling theory which is known as Nyquist sampling theorem, which specifies that what should be our sampling rate based on our bandwidth. Okay. So this will be the content of this particular session, that why sampling is needed. Why do we need sampling? Because if we are learning something, we should be knowing that why we are learning that. Then what to remember when doing the sampling, and when we sampled a signal, how should we recover it to its original form. And as I already told you that Nyquist sampling theorem specifies a particular sampling rate. And so the question comes that can sampling frequency be lower than Nyquist rate? Okay. So we know that practical signals are analog in nature. For example, let's say I have to process my speech signal. Okay. And we know that whatever I'm speaking is an analog signal, and it is of this form, something of this form, where x-axis is time and y-axis is the amplitude. Okay. And communication system which are DSP based works on digital signals. Okay, let's assume that I have to amplify the signal, and that particular amplifier is a digital system, so that accepts only digital signal. So we need some kind of mechanism to convert our analog signal to digital signal. Okay, because the input is analog signal, whatever I'm speaking, but my speech signal has to be amplified by a DSP based system which accepts only digital signal. Okay, so as I already told you that analog signals are continuous in time. So continuous means it has infinite number of samples, or if we are talking in terms of samples, then it has infinite numbers of samples across time domain, and similarly it is continuous across the amplitude domain. Now digital signals are discrete in time domain as well as their amplitude has finite levels. Okay. So where sampling comes into picture in this case? So sampling is done to convert continuous time signal to discrete time. Okay, focus on this thing, continuous time to discrete time. So as we had, and yeah, before going further, so this is sampling is across the x-axis, or sampling is across the time axis. Then what about the amplitude axis? Because we said that digital signal also had finite amplitude levels. So that process is done by that process is known as quantization. Okay, so let's say, okay, I'll put it more clear. Let's assume that this was my continuous time signal. Okay, so for discrete time signal, so for now I am also only talking of sampling only across the time domain. So this is continuous time signal. So if we have to get the finite number of samples across the time domain, so that will be discrete time signal. So I will choose some finite number of samples with obviously some spacing between them. So like this, something like this. Okay, so this will turn my continuous time signal to discrete time signal, and choosing finite number of samples in a continuous time signal is known as sampling. Okay, this is a very high level definition. We will go in little bit depth of this, but if we on a very simpler level of understanding, sampling is what? If I have to choose some finite number of samples from my continuous time domain signal, that will convert that particular signal to time domain signal. Okay, and the spacing between these samples, let's call it as delta x. This is known as my sampling duration. And that will also specify the sampling frequency. Sampling frequency is nothing but the inverse of this. Okay. And quantization is what? Quantization when we are taking a finite amplitude also. So it is, you can say it is sampling across amplitude level. But in this session, we will not go to study quantization. We will only limit ourselves to sampling. Okay. So now let's sample a continuous time signal. So I think we have already seen this, that if this is a continuous time signal, it need not be a perfectly sine wave. It could be anything. And I'm choosing some finite number of samples here. So this can be done by multiplying continuous time signal by an impulse train. Okay. So we might be knowing that what an impulse train is. If anyone has doubt, please ask me. But I'll just try to put it in simple terms, that impulse train is nothing but a continuous repetition or an infinite number of repetitions of a impulse signal. So impulse signal is this signal which is situated at 0. So impulse train will be if I'm repeating the impulses in an infinite manner. Okay, so if you have to visualize that what is sampling in terms of mathematics, then let's say I have my input signal xt, and let's say call this impulse train as delta in. See, here I am writing this in terms of n because this is a discrete signal. So if I multiply both of them, there will be some finite number of samples of xt, and let's represent that by xn. Okay. Yeah. So let's assume that Fourier transform of xt is xf, Fourier transform of yt is yf. In that case, what is the Fourier transform of when we multiply the signal? Can anyone comment on this?
Yeah, it will be a signal with the shifted of that train of impulses.
Correct, correct. Yeah, so this is specific to sampling case, but if we generalize this, for this particular case, it is nothing but convolution of both of them. Okay, so here I am trying to portray the picture of sampling in frequency domain. So that's why I am talking of these things. So as I think Vipul already told, Vipul, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So when a signal is multiplied by an impulse, it shifts the spectrum to the impulse position. Okay. So for example, let's say the Fourier transform of xt looks something like this. So when I say Fourier transform of xt, I will plot that particular thing in frequency domain, or in another word, I can say the spectrum of xt. So when we mention a spectrum, we talk in terms of the frequency domain. So let's assume that the spectrum of xt or xf looks something like this. And let's say I am multiplying by impulse, that is in time domain. And when we portray this in frequency domain, we will convolve this. So let's say the impulse train is located at some frequency f naught. Just for ease of understanding, I am only plotting single impulse, and this is convolution. So the result will be the xf will be shifted to f naught. Okay, I hope this is clear. And we will try to see that how this will help us in understanding sampling better. Okay, so now let's see the impact of sampling in frequency domain. So what we did in time domain, we multiplied our xt by an impulse, sorry, this is just multiplication, by an impulse train. So that means I must have convoluted by Fourier transform of impulse train. So we saw that when we are convolving with an impulse, the spectrum is shifting to the frequency at which impulse is located. Now, we saw that impulse train is an infinite number of impulses. Similarly, its frequency, its Fourier transform or delta IF is also infinite number of impulses, but with different scaling. So we will not go much deeper into the exact numbers, that how much is the scaling and so on. We will just try to understand that how it is actually impacting. Okay. So our XF was something like this. This is my actual, let's say, let's again continue our speech example, that let's say this is my continuous time speech signal, whatever I am speaking. And if I have to convolve this with an impulse train, this dotted means it is infinite. And let's put some numbers, f0, 2f0, minus f0, minus 2f0. So what will be the result? Result will be that xf, or the sampled spectrum, let's write it as xsf. It will be something like this. This is 0. This will be at f0. This will be at 2f0. Similarly, this will be at minus f0. So this will be at minus 2f0. So basically, every impulse shifted the spectrum to its to its own position. So this
Pulkit, here
yes.
I have one question, right? Here impulse means we are just changing time into frequency, right? And that's we are showing into impulse.
Not actually. So time into frequency is a Fourier transform logic. So by impulse, I mean that if I have to sample my signal, so that is equivalent to multiplying xt by an impulse train.
Means here impulse is suppose if we have this 1800 megahertz of the band, when actually in starting when we are generating the frequency, it will be 1800 megahertz, and then later on the frequency is going to down, right? Then sometimes in
not exactly. So you are confusing two different things. So let's say when in cellular we talk of particular bands, so those bands are in passband. So those are passband, to be more specific, those are my carrier frequencies. Okay, and this processing is in baseband. So baseband means it is happening across, let's say, 0 frequency. So suppose, let's say I want to transmit my speech signal by sampling it, let's say. So
yeah,
first
so speech signal, can you give me the example for the exact baseband signal we are putting in the carrier signals,
yes,
right?
yes,
Carrier
baseband
frequency.
signal.
So
correct.
So here in this baseband signal, suppose we are speaking in between, right, 20 kilohertz to 20,000 kilohertz. We are listening and speaking, both is happening in this band. So can you give me some example, means how exactly in this frequency we are supposed speaking, right? So suppose our voice is in 800 of kilohertz, right? So give some example so that I can correlate in the frequency term. Right? It will be better for me.
Yeah. So let's say whatever I am speaking is in baseband. So baseband, as you mentioned, that it is some 20 hertz to, let's say, 20 kilohertz.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's assume that this is a real signal. And I will come to that when we plot negative frequencies also and when we do not. But for this example, let's assume that same thing is present across negative frequency also. So
then what is here mean by negative frequency? That's I'm not understanding.
So, negative frequencies are nothing but that some frequency component is present on other side as well, that when we are only talking in baseband. So this is something which is a bit in confusion, because frequency domain is what we are with the help of frequency domain analysis, we are easing or we are basically making it easy for our analysis to happen. So this
Okay,
basically
means
means that
for the simplification, right? To
Yeah.
simplify the things, we are just giving a negative frequency. In
Yes,
actual, it is not existing, right?
I cannot confidently comment on this because there are multiple theories. So some people have given some explanation that negative frequencies have some meaning, but some people have or some papers have said that it is just for ease of analysis. So that's why I said that I cannot confidently comment on this, that they do not have any meaning.
Okay.
But at this point of time, I can say that I'm using this for ease of my simplification. Because
Okay.
if you assume a real signal and you take the Fourier transform of this, in that case it will there will be some negative frequency component also.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Did you get answer to your question?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead. So this is how the sampled signal in frequency domain looks like.